Rev up your engines! Today I'm going to talk about how not to get ripped off when buying a used car from Craigslist. Now I know quite a bit about buying used cars. Every car I've ever bought in my entire life has been a used car. And over the years I've checked out hundreds of used cars for my customers when they were thinking about buying a used car, but they wanted a mechanic to check it out, so I checked it out for them. Now nothing beats buying a good used car. In my own case, I'll often pay 20 to 30% of the original price of the car, and the car still might have 80% of its life left. For example, I bought this Lexus. It had 60,000 miles on it. I paid $4,000. Originally, it was over $30,000. But being a Lexus with 60,000 miles, it's still got at least 80% of its life left, and I sure paid a lot less than 80% of the price of the car. The only problem with buying a used car is you gotta find somewhere to buy it. And a lot of people use Craigslist, which actually isn't a bad place to look for a used car. Because if you go to used car dealers, hey, I got friends that are in the business. Let me tell you, when they're selling you a used car, the price that they want you to pay is anywhere to 2, 3, or 5 times what they paid for that car. That's why you see so many used car lots around. It's an extremely profitable business, just like pizza. It doesn't cost that much to make a pizza. That's why they can sell them cheaper. The materials to make a pizza are generally less than $1. So if you can find a private individual that's selling a car, like on Craigslist, that's not a bad place to look for a used car. But there's a lot of dishonesty in the world. So let's say you're looking at a car on Craigslist. You go and you're looking at the car. The first thing you want to find out is the person that's selling you that car, the actual owner of the car. Because many disreputable car lots will have people who work for them directly or indirectly. They'll put a Craigslist ad, you'll go, and they'll try to sell you the car. It's actually a car lot car that they've driven to meet you somewhere, and they don't actually own the car. It's the old bait and switch. Now realize, first thing you want to ask them is, who owns the car? Is the title in your name? And if the title isn't in their name, or if it's a salvaged or refurbished title, don't buy it. Now when I was young, they just called them salvage titles because it meant the car was salvaged, then it was resold. But they try to make it look sneaky, so they put things like refurbished on it, which really doesn't mean anything. It doesn't mean that it was refurbished and then someone checked it to make sure it was done right. It just means the car's been totaled by an insurance company, and then you're buying it back and trying to put it back on the road. You want to stay away from those type of cars. And be very leery of where you meet people on a Craigslist deal. Now it's not just for your own safety, like, hey, you don't want to go in a dark room of some seedy bar to meet somebody, but you don't even want to say, oh, I'll meet you at Waffle House parking lot or something like that. What you want to do is you want to meet the person who's selling a car where they live. Then you know, hey, you got a little bit of recourse. They live there, you're buying a car from them, because there are laws about pre-existing conditions on used cars regardless of what the people might say. I had a customer do that once. They were going to buy a used Mercedes, and it was like $12,000. They meet in a Sears parking lot. And I said, are you serious? You're going to meet somebody you never met, hand them all that money cash in a Sears parking lot for a car that you don't know anything about. Now he was smart, he didn't give them money, and he convinced them to bring the car to me to check it out. I checked it out, it was an absolute pile of junk. The engine was coming apart. But after I called him up and told it was junky, he called up the seller, and then within about half an hour they said, oh, we took the car to the Mercedes-Benz dealer and they said nothing was wrong with it. But of course, they didn't do that. You couldn't do it in half an hour anyways. And no Mercedes-Benz dealer is ever going to tell you that there's nothing wrong with the car that you're bringing. They want to sell you stuff. So of course, if you're looking at a car on Craigslist and they won't let a mechanic look at it, just walk away. There's too many scams out there. And speaking of scams, bring a scan tool with you if you're looking at a car on Craigslist. This Creator, it costs 24 bucks. That's nothing. A lot of times guys will reset the codes when there's trouble. This will show you that that's been done. You just plug it into the data port, snaps right in. They're fully automated, then they set themselves up, and they immediately show you information you want to know. DTC has detected trouble codes. It says there's none. Now they could have erased them, but if they did, these readiness things would not be ready. But in this case, as you can see, it's ready. The thing you want to really look at here is readiness incomplete. Readiness incomplete is 0. That means it's complete. If there are any numbers here, that would mean that they reset it and it's not ready yet because there's a trouble code somewhere that will pop up later. That's the biggest trick in the book. They can erase the code, then you don't see the check engine light being on, but there's still a code that's hidden in there. When you put in this thing, if it says readiness and it doesn't say 0 on the complete, that means that there are a certain number of them that aren't completed, and there's probably a problem in the car. Don't buy the car then. You want to have no trouble codes, and you want to have all the readiness done. You don't want to have any that are incomplete. For 24 bucks, this scanner, or any little scanner that you can get that does wireless communication with your cell phone, will all be able to read trouble codes and see if your systems are complete or incomplete. And that stops a lot of scams in just a minute. Now, of course, I got a whole book on checking out used cars, but you're going to be doing some of those things yourself, and some you'll probably pay a mechanic. The main thing is you want to take it for a good road test of at least 10 minutes. Back it up for a minute or so to see how it feels backing up and how it brakes backing up. Take it on a highway, get it going at least 60 miles an hour to see how it goes on a highway. Turn on the AC to make sure it works. Watch the temperature gauge to make sure it doesn't overheat. All the normal things you're going to do when you're road testing a car that you're thinking about buying. Now, if you do decide to buy a car from Craigslist, here's another bit of advice so you don't get ripped off. Don't just be carrying cash around with you. You tell the seller, hey, we're going to meet at my bank. Then you're doing your transaction in a very safe, secure place, and demand that they have the title in their hand and that the title does not say salvage or refurbished or reconditioned, and then it's got their name on it, not some other strange person's name. Because you can get a good deal on a car on Craigslist, but you can't trust anyone except me. And odds of you getting me to check it out for you are going to be pretty slim unless you live near Houston, Texas. So if you never want to miss another one of my new car repair videos, remember to ring that bell.